We had heard in camp it was good. He's Cooper Kupp. And by the way, he was not a first-round pick. He was not a second-round pick. How has he been able to integrate to this offense so quickly?
In all honesty, Puka does deserve the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year award. He broke the record for most catches in a season and most yards in a season by a rookie. I mean, literally nobody else has ever done that to the amount that he did. But knowing the NFL, they're going to simply give the award to CJ Stroud simply because he's a quarterback. Not to take anything away from CJ, but Puka simply put had a much better season. Puka was drafted in the 5th round, came in the first week as the number 1 option and dropped 119 yards in his first week. In CJ's first week, mind you, he did play the Ravens, but I think he didn't even put up a touchdown in that week. No, he did not. In that first week game, the Texans only put up 9 points against the Ravens off straight field goals, losing 25-9. While Puka was growing up, he experienced a lot of hardships and failures in his life, just as any other young boy. When he was just 11 years old, his father tragically passed away. His father was the one who first introduced him and his 3 siblings to the game of football. His passing inspired Puka to become even more invested in football than he already was. His father's death was the event that sparked his need to be in the NFL. Now obviously, just because you have a want or need to be in the NFL doesn't mean you're going to make it. I mean, I'm sure every single one of you watching right now has wanted to be in the NFL or the NBA, MLB, whatever sports league, cricket, I don't know what you guys want. When you were in high school, I'm sure you wanted to be in those leagues. But let's do the math. In the NFL, there's 1,414 players as of 2020. I know 2020 was a while ago, but the number's roughly the same now. And there's 162.4 million guys, men, in the USA alone. So hold on, let me see. That's 1,414 divided by 162.4 million equals... Yeah, exactly like I suspected, impossible. Puka did not receive many touches in high school until his sophomore year. As a freshman, he averaged just under 30 yards per game, but then, as a sophomore, he jumped to 97 yards a game. And if you thought that leap from his freshman to sophomore season was massive, just wait until you see his junior and senior stats. Hey, wait a second, man, I gotta say something about this. I didn't even know Puka went through all that when he was younger. That makes me think of him in a whole different light. But CJ went through the same thing. I mean, his dad was arrested when he... Look, bro, can you stop cutting me off and just let me finish? Let me at least finish his high school before you come in and start talking all this random stuff about CJ. All right, man, whatever. God, where was I? If you thought his leap from freshman to sophomore was massive, wait until you see his junior and senior stats. But before I do that, I need to add some context. Puka grew up in Provo, Utah, a town known for its 90% Mormon population. Puka and his family grew up as Christians, so it was hard for Puka and his siblings to get along with everyone since they were totally different in background and in religion. Not even to mention that Puka is Polynesian and Provo is a majority white area. This inability to bond with his classmates made it hard for him to perform on the gridiron. But in his junior and senior year, after a lot of training, he was able to overcome this gap and blow up for 141 yards per game in his junior year, and then 166 yards per game as a senior. Clearly, this kid was special. Now personally, and I'm sure you guys too, we've all dealt with this issue in one way or another. Not connecting with our peers. I mean, in my high school years, I was a very shy and secluded student. I didn't really like talking to people, and I was very awkward when they spoke to me. It took me a while to overcome this anxiety, but once I was able to overcome this hurdle, my grades went up drastically as I was able to ask for help. From my teachers, I was able to ask teachers for help without feeling embarrassed, and I was able to earn scholarship to the university that I'm currently attending. Let me know if you guys have experienced anything like this down in the comments. After his incredible finish to his high school career, and breaking the Utah state record for receiving yards and touchdowns, Puka was given the honor of being a 4-star recruit and 8th ranked receiver in his class, ranked above guys like Zay Flowers, Drake London, and Rashee Rice. Okay, now is when you can talk, Mr. Texans fan. Say whatever you want to say. Well, I was gonna say something, but right now when you said that Puka was a 4-star recruit and ranked above guys like Zay Flowers and Drake London, what the hell happened to this guy that he dropped all the way to the 5th round? Well, that's exactly what I'm struggling to understand, and maybe you guys are as well. How did this baby Jerry Rice lose so much of the media's interest when he went to college? I must preface this section with saying that Puka and his family have an incredibly close relationship. Puka, his 3 siblings, and his grandmother, and his mother of course, are inseparable, which is why it was hard for Puka to leave his hometown of Provo to attend the University of Washington. Go Huskies! Puka's first season as a Husky did not go as planned. He only played 3 games and only caught 7 balls in those games. Not only did he not receive playing time, he also broke his foot, which means he missed majority of the season. Then in 2020, the entirety of Washington only played 4 games. I mean, that's super weird. I wonder what caused him to play only 4 games. Was there some pandemic going on or something? Wait, 2020? Oh shit, yeah, I think there was actually a pandemic going on, my fault. I mean, I don't know if you remember it. Maybe you're too young, but COVID, Sorry for saying the C word, but yeah. In 2021, things even got worse for Puka. His grandmother came down with a horrible illness, and since Puka was so close with his grandmother, he decided it was best to move back to Utah and transfer to BYU. His brother also transferred to BYU for the same reason. BYU was a school that Puka's late father wanted to see him and his siblings grow up and play at. So while he did go back to be closer to his family and his grandma, he also did it to make his father proud. Wow, I can relate to Puka for this. I remember when I first tipped my first cow and I shot my first calf. My daddy was so proud of me when I did that. I can only imagine trying to make him proud when he wasn't even around anymore. I would never wish that on my worst enemy. That is incredible from Puka. At BYU, which, by the way, hold on. What did you just say? You tip cows? You shoot calves? Well, yeah, brother, I'm from Texas. I mean, that's what we do around here. Yeah, you ever seen the movie Cars, tractor tipping? We created that, but with cows, you know what I'm saying? At BYU, Puka had a better career. In his junior season, he caught 43 balls for 805 yards, and as a senior year, he caught 48 for 625. But neither of these seasons are anything spectacular for someone that was once ranked 8th overall in his class and was a 4-star recruit. I mean, he wasn't Justin Jefferson or Devontae Smith, but he did have a good enough season to declare for the draft. Okay, Mr. Texans fan, are you still there? Yes, I'm here. Can you do a quick recap for anyone that skipped forward to the draft section or just wasn't paying attention? Well, alright. I mean, let's see. Puka was born in Utah. His father died when he was 11. He had a great high school career, which led him to declare for Washington, but then he had to move back to Utah when his grandma got sick, leading to him having 2 breakout seasons and then declaring for the draft. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, his brother Samson also played with him at BYU. Alright, that was great, honestly. You missed a couple things, but not important. You basically got all the important bits. So now we're at the NFL draft, the place where hundreds of teenagers' lives changed forever. And for Puka, it was the same. He just, had to wait a little bit longer than most. There were 19 receivers taken before he heard his name called. Yes, 19. It's crazy to think that all 32 NFL teams passed on him at least 4 times before he was finally drafted 117th overall by the Los Angeles Rams.
Hey, Puka, Les Snead, Los Angeles Rams.
How you doing?
You doing all right?
Doing good. Life is good.
Well, here's what I want to say. What if we draft you with the 43rd pick here in the 5th round? That make your day a little better?
That would make my day great.
And since we're doing a little competition here between CJ and Puka, I just want to say CJ was drafted 2nd overall. Right, Mr. Texas? Yeah, 2nd overall. That's right. 2nd overall. Puka was drafted 177. That's 175 places after CJ Stroud. He was never expected to be anything special. I mean, his draft profile literally had him labeled as a special teamer before he had ever even taken a snap. That's never a good sign for a player. Now, of course, you can make a decent living as a special teamer, but we know Puka now. We know he wants to fulfill his dream of being an NFL receiver, not a gunner, and also make his father and family proud. After being drafted, Puka's life began to take shape. Looking back at Puka's stats, I cannot believe he was even given an opportunity to play as a starter. I mean, even in preseason, he only played 1 game and only had 32 yards on 5 targets in that 1 game. It was not a very good outing for him, and the Rams had players that were drafted higher than him and were getting paid drastically more than him in Cooper Kupp and Tutu Atwell. Luckily for Puka, Cooper Kupp got hurt at the beginning of the NFL season, which paved the way for Puka Nacua to see playing time as a real NFL regular season starter. And I mean, in week 1, Puka had 119 yards on 10 catches, over 10 yards per catch. And I mean, just listen to how the media reacted after his very first game.
He's got 25 catches through 2 weeks. That's an NFL record for kids. Now listen, here's the crazy part. If you go and you look at day 3 picks, which he is, and you say 25 catches through 2 games, what's the record for 3 games? He would already have it. What's the record for 4 games? He would already have it. So he's already got the most catches ever to start an NFL career as a day 3 pick through 4 games. We've only had 2 games.
All right, man, look. I know nobody knew this kid was going to be anything good. I mean, there was nobody in the entire world that could have predicted Puka freaking Nacua would be anything good. Yeah, he had a great season, but I still believe CJ Stroud deserves it more than that boy. I mean, he led my favorite team to the playoffs. Puka Nacua didn't lead nothing. What do you mean Puka didn't lead nothing? Puka has the most receiving yards and receptions by a rookie of all time. And what do you mean nobody knew this kid was going to be good? One man and his team knew he was going to be good. Sean McVay and the Rams draft team. It seems like the Rams knew Puka would develop into something amazing ever since the NFL draft. Here's a clip of them talking about Puka.
I think this guy would be really good for us, Les. I want a guy that is going to be where he's supposed to be, that'll stay grounded through the catch, aggressive hands, that will dig out support in the run game, and then that we can also give him, he can be an extension of the run game.
Jeez, take the whole draft.
This guy can be a functional piece of an offensive operation.
Now, putting up 119 in your first ever NFL game as a 5th round pick could easily be labeled a fluke, especially since he was Stafford's main target after Cooper Kupp went down with injury. Or maybe was it just because NFL defenses weren't familiar with his game and what he liked to do? So in that case, let's fast forward to when Cooper Kupp came back a couple weeks later in October 8th against the Philadelphia Eagles, a team which was just in the Super Bowl, for those of you who forgot, and known for having an incredible secondary with James Bradberry and Darius Slay. But Puka didn't care one freaking bit. Cooper Kupp ended that game getting his fair share of targets, of course, 8 catches and 118 yards. So then there's no way Puka even got close to that amount of stats. But he did. Nacua had 7 receptions, 71 yards, and a touchdown. From this point on, Puka and Kupp were clearly a top receiver duo in the NFL, both of them averaging above 12 yards per reception for the entire season, and Puka actually averaging more yards per game than Cooper, 87.4 to 61.4. It was a Linsanity run, if you will. And I will repeat this one last time for Mr. Texans fan and for anybody here watching. Puka Nacua deserves the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. But if you think CJ Stroud deserves it more, then I wouldn't blame you. He also played a good season. Yeah, finally you give CJ the respect he deserves, but I will say this. Puka Nacua, after listening to all of your arguments, I do think Puka deserves it more because he was drafted super late in the draft and he did break more records than CJ, so I wouldn't be mad if Puka got it either. Personally, I want CJ to get it, but I wouldn't be mad. And hey, don't you have a video on CJ?
Oh damn, thank you for reminding me.
And if you want to see my video discussing CJ's journey to the NFL and him potentially winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, then click the video on the screen, and I will see you there.